Matters with Paul Rosen.
Our diets, our Western diets in America are just really, you just don't realize how poor they really are.
What would you say to others who would like to feel better?
Sometimes you need to find the instruction. That's where the testing and everything comes in, because without that knowledge, there's no way I could have got to the point where I'm at today.
Straight talk about health.
And then I start preaching and telling them what I've been doing. And this guy named Paul Rosen has changed my life.
With your host, Paul Rosen.
By the way, the information contained in this program is not approved by the FDA, nor intended to treat, diagnose, or claim to cure any medical condition or disease as defined by Western medicine. However, skilled practitioners of many disciplines have found nutrition response testing to be a highly reliable supportive technology for assessing the health and fitness of the body's functional system.
I'll run some names by you, Paul Rosen. Benedict Arnold, Judas, Kim Philby. He was the head of British intelligence who turned out to be a Soviet spy. Also, Klaus Fuchs. He worked on the Manhattan Project. He turned out to be a Soviet spy. There's LeBron James, who went from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, now to Los Angeles. Some people regard all these as traitors. They are traitors to their cause, including you, LeBron James, possibly. I'm sure some people in Cleveland still feel that way.
Gee, you put some emphasis on that.
On LeBron James?
On that, yeah, there we go.
There you go. Now you've got your microphone facing the right way.
Well, it was facing the right way, but I think the winds and the breezes here turned it around.
That's it. Phantoms turned your microphone away from you. But my point with all that is this, is the biggest traitor of all may be what? Your immune system. That's what it is. Does the immune system really betray us?
It's not exactly a betrayal, because the condition that's required in the system for your immune system to turn on your body actually is a little bit misstated with respect to the Western medical viewpoint. And that is that in Western medicine, it is believed that the immune system turns on your body for no reason.
Turns on your body for no reason. So we're going with the premise that the immune system does turn on your body. Is the disagreement the causes for that betrayal on the part of your immune system?
Well, my disagreement is that the body does not betray itself for no reason. There's a reason. And that is the difference between the way I and my colleagues see the immune system's action, potential betrayal, that is equivalent to an autoimmune condition.
So let me go out on a limb here and say, when you say there's a reason, we're talking about a number of different reasons, or is there a single cause?
No, there are many, many different reasons why the body can turn on itself. It can turn on itself because of foods that you're eating that you shouldn't be, ultimately degrading your body, particularly your intestines. We're going to go into that in a little bit more detail. It could be that there is an incompletely eliminated or addressed bug, meaning bacterial, viral, parasite, fungal, etc., etc. Could be because of the existence of accumulated chemicals or metals in a particular tissue of the body, usually organs or glands, or joints or muscles. So these are many, many causes, but in my clinical experience, people who come in with autoimmune diseases, which there are many now, there is always a reason, always one or more of those things that I mentioned are involved, and what you have to do is turn the body's attention to those so that it can begin to clean it up.
So the body turning on itself, by definition, I think that would mean your immune system, white blood cells, for example, which are meant to fight foreign invaders into your immune system, for some reason, or into your body, for some reason are turning on things in your body which it should not. Is that right?
Many decades ago, it was discovered that injury to a tissue can result in the dumping of that tissue into the bloodstream. Proteins, for example, and they be recognized by your immune system as foreign invaders.
So again, we're just misidentifying, or your immune system is misidentifying things like that, proteins, and therefore when you say turning on itself, it's fighting the healthy elements of your body.
It's not really misidentifying. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just that, for example, head injuries, perfect example, where the brain becomes injured and brain protein gets spilled into the blood system, and the body begins to develop literally an immunity to its own brain tissue, and what that does is it prevents the that organ or gland, in this case the brain, from healing. And so, if there was a way to divert the body's attention away from that phenomenon, then the body could begin and continue the healing process, thus restoring normal function to organs and glands and so forth.
A head injury being one example, then, is it always trauma which causes your immune system to do this thing, to attack the wrong parts of your body?
No, that's just an example. As I mentioned earlier, you can be eating foods that you shouldn't be, creating problems for your immune system. Which will the foods generally degenerate your digestive organs and glands.
So bad health in general, as well as the foods we're taking in, can confuse our immune system.
And the other environmental influences, the ongoing bugs that haven't been completely eliminated from the body, the chemicals and the metals that accumulate in various tissues, all will result in that condition, what we call autoimmunity, or where a person's immune system will begin to attack your body or itself.
In addition to making your immune system go haywire, is it possible to also weaken your immune system? Or do they all go together, really? Is that all semantics, or are they the same thing? I'm drawing a distinction between something that's weak and something that's strong as it should be.
Yeah.
However, it's attacking the wrong things.
Yeah, it's about susceptibility. I mean, when that's the word I would use as opposed to weaken. Susceptibility, meaning that sort of everyday, influences out there or impingements that you might bump into have an abnormally dramatic effect on ruining the quality of your life.
So impingements, are those the things you've been mentioning?
Yeah,
Food,
the environmental
factors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And environmental factors, as we've discussed many times, can be many things. They can be pesticides. They can be nasty things in your home.
Yeah, exactly. Once you get into the realm of chemicals, and we've had, many shows, and I will continue to do that, about referencing the tens of thousands of chemicals that have never been on planet Earth before, that our bodies are having to endure. And many people experience many different kinds of conditions besides allergies and asthma, skin conditions, and neurological conditions, and all different types of conditions that people experience that they can't seem to get a handle on.
So things that have never been unearthed before, like the Doritos tacos at Taco Bell, which I actually kind of liked.
Of course you do.
Which I should not be eating.
Which is what we're going to get.
I should not be getting anywhere near those things.
Yeah, the commercial, you can't eat just one.
It's true.
Should be something like you should not eat just one.
Actually, that's true also. You're a fountain of veracity this morning. But that's my point. Maybe in our modern world, we have all kinds of chemicals and stuff we've just never encountered before. Is that the point you're making with that?
Yeah. That's the chemical impingement that our bodies are suffering from, and this year was some of the worst. Most people don't realize that allergies have relatively nothing to do with pollen in the air. It has everything to do with poison, and I'm equating poison to the chemicals that begin in the spring. What category of chemicals begin to be released into the atmosphere in the spring?
That would be the pesticides and
the herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, etc. And the same category of chemicals which sort of disappear in the fall.
In addition to that, for those who are allergy sufferers or who have special susceptibilities, does that further confuse or weaken their immune systems?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you have those problems already,
or
I guess,
it makes them, I mean, technically speaking, it makes them more susceptible. So whether it's confusion or whether it's just reaction of your body to continuous poisoning, exposure, if you want to call that, weakness, okay, fine. But I think the susceptibility, that's a, I feel really comfortable with that word.
Now, besides fast food tacos and the obvious things that we should not be eating, I'm assuming there are any number of things in our diet which are making this immune system problem even worse.
Well, let's talk about that for a little bit. So, the recent research has revealed that our gut contains a second brain called the the enteric.
We have a brain in our gut.
Literally. And the brain in your head and the brain in your gut are constantly in communication. And the health of that brain in your gut is dependent on something called the microbiome. You've heard me mention that term before. What it really is the various microbiota, like bacteria and viruses and fungi and so forth, that occupy your gut in order literally for this body to be able to survive on the planet. Because this microbiome makes it possible to churn out some vitamins, to break down the foods and make allow the chemistry to become absorbable for the human body, and even support the immune system as a whole. It also the gut also has a direct connection to the emotional generators of the brain.
So this is really a center of activity in the body, is that right?
Huge.
And that's why we call it a brain in the gut.
Huge. No, it's literally a brain. It's literally connected via the vagus nerve in the body.
So is it also doing regulation of some sort? I mean, you say it's not a central nervous system, but a central system for all these various elements to reside. Does it also manufacture or regulate in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So this is a very important part of our bodies, of which I think many of us are not that aware.
Indeed, which is why I love doing this particular show. No, most people aren't aware. And the maintaining this microbiome, which is the way to maintain and support a healthy immune system, not a vaccination.
So when we're doing things to harm our stomachs, let's say that 16-ounce bottle of soda, that's really doing our bodies more harm than we're even allowing for.
The funny thing is the additional connection in this with this microbiome and the immune system, but also the psychological condition of ourselves has been shown. Meaning, in many ways, what we eat determines literally how we feel.
So we're eating something lousy and we make our guts hurt. That may put us in a bad mood. Okay, that's on the surface. So there may be an additional element at work there. You're saying it's a physiological element maybe that's affecting our mood.
Irritability, blue moods, depression, anxiety, all of these things are in some way connected to your gut.
And if food and the things we're imbibing affects our gut, it stands to reason that the food we're eating is affecting our moods.
Cool, huh? I mean,
it all comes together when you put it in a flow chart form like that. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. I mean, you'll hear many people say, for example, that they're really anxious or really depressed, and they just have horrible sugar cravings. Well, the sugar cravings are in large part generated by the imbalance of microbiota in your gut.
Do you think
they are literally calling out to be fed?
So
literally.
I think many of us, we joke about a sugar addiction, but here you're saying there really is such a thing.
Well, that too. This is an additional element to the actual addiction. Sugar has the same impact as cocaine on the brain.
I was not even going there, so that's an additional element you brought into the conversation. I was thinking of the direct impact of the lack of sugar on your craving stomach.
I didn't follow.
Well, your stomach
lack
is
of sugar?
Well, your stomach is craving that sugar, right? So if you're not feeding it, you're impacting the condition of your
microbiome,
stomach.
the bugs in your
that's what
gut.
I'm saying.
Not generally in your stomach, but in your intestine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Microbiome, I was associating with stomach.
No.
So I assume now we're going to intestines.
Yeah.
But it is a two-part craving then. The microbiome and your brain, the brain in your head. Is that right?
For a two-part craving.
For sugar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So either one of those elements of your body could be impacted by your sugar craving.
And one of the big reasons that people find it difficult to, they go, oh my gosh, I last time I tried to go off of sugar, I was, felt horrible, is because of those two conditions, those two situations, both the addiction, the neurological addiction, and also the imbalance of microbiota in the gut.
So you're sending bad food into your body. That's one thing. And then maybe on a second level, you're creating some of these addictions. Are the addictions the worst of those or the worst of those two problems? I mean, if you're developing that big a problem, an addiction, for example, is there any way to get past that? How do you get past that kind of craving?
Of course. Well, you hear me talk about it all the time, and that is you have to start thinking about changing your diet. When I say you have to give up sugar, right? I'm thinking way ahead down the line, right? To your immune system.
If you are a true sugar junkie, though, I mean, is your body going to rebel when you change your dietary habits?
It's not exactly rebel. I mean, it's like any addictive chemical, right? It's going to change the way in which your nerve endings fire the chemistry. It's going to interfere with that chemistry. It's going to create angry little bugs in your gut, and all of those things together are going to make for a nice little miserable experience when you don't feed them. But there are ways to transition which are very simple and very easy, and in a very real way. Limiting that what otherwise would be a very uncomfortable condition. And we do it in my clinic all the time.
So the impact on your immune system would be what immediately? Would there be an immediate impact if you were to change your dietary habits in a real dramatic fashion?
Sure, there would be an immediate impact. You might not feel it, but you have to start turning around that microbiome, that balance. The good bugs and the bad bugs have gotten severely crossed up. And the gut itself, over a longer period of time, the gut itself will become more susceptible to what's called a leaky gut. And that's where substances migrate through the intestines into the bloodstream that shouldn't ought to be there.
Besides abdominal pain, when you're going through all these things, are there other
abdominal pain? I don't know that you'd have abdominal pain.
Okay, but besides, let's say, pain in your stomach or pain in other parts of your body. I mean,
not most people don't experience that.
Okay, what other physical symptoms then might these conditions make happen?
I mean, most of them are psychological.
Really?
Yeah.
So
you become extremely irritable. You become extremely anxious.
But if your immune system's out of whack due to the things we've discussed, would you exhibit physical symptoms like pain in your joints or rashes or anything dramatic like that?
Coming off of sugar?
No, if you're having problems like the bad immune system, if the immune system's out of whack.
Any kind of symptom. You can experience anything. You name it. I mean, MS is related to an autoimmune condition.
Well, that's my point, and that's a real dramatic example. But what I mean is, if you're having a problematic immune system, you will have physical symptoms.
You may have physical symptoms, you may have emotional symptoms, and you may have both.
And how do you know those things are directly related to your immune system?
Well, if you have ongoing an inflammatory pattern of any kind, if you've been labeled with any kind of autoimmune condition, for the thyroid Hashimoto's or Graves, for example, then you'll know that your microbiota are out of control.
One more note, you can get a free chapter of Paul Rosen's book, The Missing Piece. Just go to his website, acunatural.com, acunatural.com, and fill out the dialog box that pops up. Rest assured, no information you provide will ever be shared with anyone else. So, what are you waiting for? Get going on your personal road to wellness today.